Good morning, everyone. I got my coffee ready to go. Let me get this all set up right. I got this over right there. Get this moved over. Let's put it back. Okay. I think we are good to go. Hope everyone's having a wonderful day. It's a beautiful day here in Flat Top. We're going to go for a little walk today and all that kind of good stuff. Actually, I need to go check one thing real fast so you guys get to stare off here into the plants for just another minute, but I will be right back. I'm going to check to make sure that I got something set up right. I did, so we are good to go. Okay. If you guys saw what I was doing, I was just checking to make sure that I had also had this streamed on Facebook and also to make sure that I had the link. So, on this beautiful Sunday, we'll probably get into the bees later, so you can look forward to that. Current temperature is 20 degrees Celsius, or about 68 Fahrenheit. So we're going to go a little walk up this way, check out the sky, talk a little bit about some of the crazy juju that I've just been experiencing. And not just from my personal life, but most of my friends and such as well. So this is more of a, more of one of my woo-woo chats. Nothing, just things I observe. The cool thing about being a farmer, the cool thing about spending time outside in nature, and having a lot of quiet time means I also have a lot of time to observe things. Got my, what is this? This is dragon coffee. You guys want to see the ducks? You can see the ducks and everything. So the water's got a lot of rain last night. So quite a bit of rain. Oh, you might be wondering what dragon coffee is, since I just mentioned dragon coffee. Dragon coffee is coffee with turmeric, honey, and real milk. So, and hello everyone. Thank you for joining me today as we get ready to head up the mountain and go for a walk. If you guys haven't seen those of you maybe not seen, this is the fence I've been working on the last couple weeks. So it's a little off there. Have to do some fixing of it. Just kind of buttoning, making things look a little nicer around here and such like that. There's our new tent that we're going to put a bunch of hay in, which we might be getting a new tractor soon. So if that's the case, if we do end up getting this new tractor and it all works out well, we'll be doing some tractor streams as well. So we're going to head up the mountain, see what's going on up there, and just some chit chat. I'm kind of just blabbing on right now for just a second while I get my mind settled and get us up to ready to go. Oh, you guys want the camera, you guys might be interested in the camera that I've recently added. That actually overlooks so you guys can see the cows and things. That camera is viewable on the Mavis Pharmacy page on DLive. Or if you're following me on Twitch, it's the other one that when this channel is not me talking and it's just 24/7, it's the same channel. The other DLive channel is just Lisa's. So you guys can see I've been purposely letting the branches and such grow over the fence, so it's looking very nice. It's getting this nice tucked in feeling, exactly what I wanted it to do. Kind of have getting the multiflora rose and other stuff to turn into a wall of brambles. And plus the other perk of this wall of brambles here, I see all these guys, those are all rose hips. In the fall, we'll come out here, harvest rose hips, and I'll give you guys a rose hip class, explain to you how spectacular those little things of rose hips are, how they're awesome for vitamin C, a nice, awesome natural punch of vitamin C to really help boost your fall immune system, and to also just add more stuff to the body to make you feel better and to have more energy and such like that. So to the Juju, the main thing we're going to talk about today is, I'm not sure those of you out there in internet land, how many of you guys have been feeling kind of something off. Is probably the easiest way I can refer to it. So some people are feeling a lot more off than others. Some people are feeling more depressed. Some people are feeling hopeless. Some people are feeling angry. I'm just getting a very off feeling, and I'm noticing it with a lot more people. I've also been waking up not feeling well, which is uncommon for me, especially since I'm pretty good at sleeping. Like I say, that is, I try to always make sure I get 8 hours of sleep. I judge my sleep very well. But I've noticed there's just something off. We'll walk down later and check out the market garden on the way back down. So, just trying to figure out all that stuff. Actually, you know what? Let's go check out the market garden right now. And we'll head back down there, and then we'll go another way up. It's a slightly different path that you guys have maybe not taken with me before. I've also noticed some of my friends, especially like my friends that I don't get to see on a regular basis, I'm hearing a lot of people talk about having this loneliness feeling. So, and you know, middle of the summer, when there's lots of activities going on, and you know, the Great Snow Day is currently not really affecting us in the way that it was in the last year and a half. But I'm still noticing that a lot of people are talking about this lonely feeling that they're having, and that's very uncommon for summer. So I've been paying attention to stuff. So my background, well, one of my backgrounds is in psychology. So I actually wanted to be a clinical psychologist at one particular point. Spent a long time researching stuff on relationships, human interactions, and such like that. And so when I hear people talk about being depressed or sad or things of that sort, I try to figure out, first off, if it's something that's happening to them in particular, or if there's a greater connection. And I've been noticing, I think, that there's a greater connection. I think that all of this juju, all of this negative that we're feeling, all of this anger, all of this, I don't know how to put it, this way that they're trying to get us to be angry at each other and to try to fight and be scared of everything. I think it's really weighing on some people that I know a lot more than they may notice. It's probably also weighing on me more than I notice, because sometimes it's really hard to observe yourself, and you might think you know what's going on. And even someone like me who spends a lot of time focusing on, you know, my body and my mind and how all of that is interconnected, I also think maybe sometimes I miss out, because when you're in the mix of things, it's not always the easiest to see it. But I'm thinking that's playing a role in all of this. Now, we're going to talk a little bit in a few minutes after we, talk through this. and have a good conversation about it. We're going to talk about some solutions, some stuff that you can try if you start noticing yourself feeling like this, some stuff I've been trying, some options that we can do together. So again, because I think one of the times is when you feel isolated, when you feel alone, when you feel like things are just not going in the direction that you want them to do, this is the time to, instead of like, pull in on yourself and give yourself some quiet time. Why, there is absolutely a place for that. If you're going to meditate, if you're going to rebalance yourself, it's good to do that. But if you're pulling away from everyone and you're not rebalancing and you're not, getting to know yourself better, then it's actually not helpful, and it's better to reconnect with your friends and reconnect with those that care. And if you're following me and you're here, part of the mix, and even if you're brand new, I do care and I would like to help if you have me as someone that's willing to help. We also have a really nice group of friends on our Discord, !Discord, if you'd like to join. We talk about a variety of stuff, but it's more of just really a place for us to bring fellowship and just have conversations. And if we just start feeling crazy, if things just start feeling off, it's a place to go. We all don't always agree on a lot of stuff. Sometimes there's arguments, sometimes there's stuff. But great thing about it is I got lots of channels. You can jump around. You can do things of that sort. But we just need to be paying attention. One of the things about modern era that, while we are so interconnected with having things like me being able to have a conversation with you right now, and with being able to, be on the other side of the planet and be able to share pictures and share images and share stuff like that, we've also lost a little tiny bits of fellowship. We don't rely enough on our friends, and I think that can be that can not necessarily be beneficial. Something that we need to think a little bit about. So let's continue on. And we'll go check out the market garden and show you guys that as we continue on. So, this Juju, how's it been affecting me? So, I have just not had any oomph. I've just not really felt like wanting to achieve anything. I mean, you guys can probably notice by how little I've actually been streaming. So, I'll even get to the point where, like, you guys know how much I love getting in my bees and how much I love raising bees and having bees and, raising my animals and such. I just not really just been in the mood to do that. I've just kind of spent a lot of time wanting to be quiet, and that's odd for me. So, because it's not like I want to go forest bathing or go for a walk and spend some quiet time with myself. It's just sitting and doing nothing. And not bored, just like the ADD's kicking in. I just don't know what I feel like doing, and I'm not a big fan of that. I don't like that aspect of myself. Now, for some of you, that might be great. You might be introverts, and that might be everything that you need to recharge. But I am not an introvert. Recharging for me is definitely being around a lot of people, is achieving awesome stuff, is getting out there and doing. Even if I don't complete things, it's just kind of the do. And it's just not been, I don't know, it's just not been something that's been driving me this summer. And it's odd. I've posted in the past, what if this was our last summer? What if this kind of stuff? And, and all that's fun, doomer, black-pilled stuff. But in reality, like, it's not realistic. The doomer, black-pilled stuff is just part of the control mechanism to keep folks from sticking together and achieving awesomeness. It's getting people so that they don't do things like plant a cool garden. So I just wanted to walk out here and show you guys this again. So you guys, some of you maybe watched the videos of me planting when I planted the seeds. So this is this garden that you're looking at right here. Yes, the corn is small, I know. I planted it late in the season. But this is the Three Sisters gardening style. It's the having the plants work together. And, and just showing you how plants actually can work together and how monoculture is not necessarily a good thing, and how diversity, properly planned, well-organized diversity, is a good thing. And that's what's important. Like, I want to key that, because a lot of people think that diversity is not a good thing, and it's not a good thing if the plants don't know how to work well together. But if you have nice diverse plants and you have a level of diversity where things can just get along and everybody's just hanging out well together, with the like examples, the three sisters, which I'll break down in just more in a minute for you, there can be a lot of benefits. So what we're seeing here is we've got three different plants here. So we've got some corn, we've got some squash, and we have some peas. I think there might be some beans in here as well, but beans and peas are kind of the in the same category. So I'll let's see if we can get in here and I can show you guys what's going on, so you guys can understand. So here's the corn, and then if you see right here next to the corn, these are the peas. So what's happening is the peas are also attaching to the corn, and the corn is going to make the stock, and so that the peas have some place to climb and grow. And the peas are adding nitrogen back into the soil, and the corn is taking out a lot of nitrogen, because that's what corn likes to do. So the two of them are soil building, and they're swapping what one's waste product is another one's uses as it's a fertilizer. So they're a really good team. And then we have some squash here. And what the squash does is the squash also adds different things into the soil and takes certain things away that those two plants also give and take. And then what the squash is going to ultimately do is the squash is, once this gets a little bit higher, the squash is going to come in as a ground cover. Some of the squash will grow up on this as well, but the squash will help keep some of the weeds and such at bay, so I don't have to do as much weeding. And I mean, I have to do a little bit in this garden, like you guys can see. You guys can see down this row where I've had to do a little bit of weeding here, and now this one's a little bit more green. But not very far away, I'm not going to have to do so much, because all the plants together are going to work as a good team. And there's lots of plants, especially when you're gardening. There's lots of stuff that you can do as a team. Now, the other great thing is in this just small little square. I think this is 20 feet by 20 feet, roughly, if I'm not mistaken. Let's just guess. Let's just say that for sake of argument. I'm growing 3 different types of crops in here. They're all going to mature slightly different times. I'm going to be able to get 3 different yields. And what's great is even if one fails, the other ones, I'll still get some yields from here. So this will not be this particular garden plot will not ultimately be a complete failure. It will, everything will work really well. Now, it's all about not putting all of your eggs in one basket. It's about knowing how to do constructed diversity. And it's about making sure that things work well together. So like if I would have planted, let's say cabbage would not have been good to plant in here, because cabbage requires more of a space. Cabbage, well, here, I'll show you guys. I have some cabbage over here, and we'll look at the cabbage, and I'll explain to you, and you guys can also just look and have a good understanding of why cabbage would not have been the best thing to plant in there. So here's some young cabbages. So you guys can see how big the cabbage, they've been eaten by slugs, but you can see how big of a footprint the cabbages take. Would have not have worked well with the corn or the squash or the peas. Another great example of a plant that doesn't work well in there is these are potatoes. Potatoes would not have also worked well in there. Not only do they loosen up the soil, which would have been bad for the peas, the squash, and the corn, but they also take up a large particular area. That being said, I could have planted some carrots in with the peas, and they would have got along just fine. So it's knowing how to interact, is getting which plants to interact together, and how well they're going to coexist in this microenvironment, in this microcosmo that you're creating here. We're going to walk over I want to show you guys new bees that I acquired. I think some of you know the story of a neighbor was having some very angry bees, and he didn't know what to do with them, and he didn't want to destroy them, so I told them that I would take them off of him. So these guys were pretty angry bees, but they were a local bee, so I'm very excited about having a local bee. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you guys can see there. I do need to put some more frames in here, probably today. I've got some 2 sitting up top, ready to go, but I need to put some more frames in here. These guys, the queen has already been named and such like that, so from the person that I acquired them from. So Stormy Daniels is what they're called. The reason they come from a town called Daniels nearby, and so it's just a fun play on words. So just a beautiful day. I mean, a little overcast, so, but let's walk back over and grab my coffee that I left on my garden plot. My garden, I don't know what you'd call this. This is my junk pile of where all my garden stuff is. And make sure there's no bugs in my coffee. No bugs in my coffee. So we can continue on. So how about you guys out there in TV land and internet land and Facebook land and whoever's watching, wherever you're watching, DLive and every place else? Are you guys feeling anything? Are you guys feeling the juju? Are you guys feeling the negative? And if you are, what are you doing about it? How are you solving these issues? How are you making life a little bit better for yourself? Or are you not? And that's why you're here. You're like, Doc, I need help, man. You seem to have the things figured out pretty well. How can you direct me in the right path? And if that's the case, that's fine too. I'll be more than happy to help you figure. We can figure this out together. We can try to figure out how to make things better. Okay, let me go through here. I don't want to open the gate. We'll just slip through the fence. Perfect. Didn't even spill my coffee. Oh, you know, guys, one of the things, you guys probably find this funny. Some of you absolutely will. But one of the downfalls to my dreads is, especially when I walk past multiflora rows and such like that, if I get too close, it sticks into the branches and sticks into the trees, and then I have to untangle my hair from the trees and the branches. So it's one of the downfalls, but I do enjoy my dreads. I do. They definitely make me I don't know, there's just something about them. We'll continue on this way. So we're gonna do the long sweeping hike. We're gonna go kind of dance around the property, places that you guys maybe you've not spent a long time seeing. One thing I love about, reminds me of a kid, and I still love it as an adult, is as much as I don't like seeing trees fallen, it's really fun to be able to walk on a tree that has fallen. There's just something cool about doing the tightrope and walking on a tree that's fallen. It's very primal and just, I don't know, pretty cool actually. Oh, by the way, guys, that house had sold. I was surprised. It sold for the asking price too, which is just absolutely crazy. But I've not met the people that's moved there yet. But I'm glad that they were able to find a cool piece of property here in Flat Top. So what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to slowly walk up this hill. So by the way, guys, at some particular point, this flat hill, it's flat-ish. I know flat's such a relative word here in West Virginia. This flattish one, this is going to be a future hayfield. And I have to be doing some work and I'll be fencing it off, but I'm going to definitely turn this into a future hayfield. So You guys, one of the major cell towers by me. And then the cool, what I like is it turned out really well. So when I do that'll actually be a nice fence line right there. It's already, nature's already letting me know where I want to put the new fence and such like that. So I like to work with nature instead of against it. I like to let it help me dictate how I want to lay things out on the property. And it really does a good job. One of the tricks that I've learned with permaculture is just is spending a lot of time observing. A lot of time just sitting and watching. And I think it's something we don't do enough in our modern time period. I think we get bored of, it feels like we're doing nothing. But if you really just sit down, you spend time like just observing and seeing everything that's happening around you. It's really, really crazy how exciting things really are, how you can learn some cool things. Like the other day we were talking about the bees and how I can usually predict when it's going to rain down to like 10 minutes just by watching and observing the bees. And that's just that's really cool to think about. So thanks, man. Thanks for the follow. Yeah, that's not the one I wanted. Also, thanks for letting me know that that was really off camera. Okay, cool. Sir, I hope you're having a lovely day. We're just walking out here. We're on Flat Top Mountain right now. I'm walking through my pasture, which is called Piper's Pasture. Observing my kingdom. Talking about bad juju, how to counteract bad juju, and how to utilize permaculture in awesome ways to make life better. While we do talk about, the craziness of everyday life, I also do hope that I can always give a solution, or at least point you in the direction of a solution. So I am in southern West Virginia. I am in a town called Flat Top. If you or anybody else is interested, if you just type in Mavis Manor, MAVIS MANOR, WV, you can actually see an aerial shot of where I live. I have about 33 acres here. And this is my permaculture lab. This is where I teach all of the cool stuff, from gardening to farming to basic life skills to prepping to whatever we can get together and do cool things with. I love being in West Virginia, love the foothills. If you've ever driven down, here's the easiest way. If you've ever been in West Virginia and you've driven down Interstate 77, you have seen all of those cell towers, because by the last toll in the southern part of the state, that is the cell towers you can see from the toll booth. So we're walking up here because it's been a hot minute since I was up here in the corner of this particular part of the property. I kind of neglect this part. It's just an area I don't walk up very often. This is one of the new spots I'll be adding campgrounds to in the very near future. Just because while it's a neglected part of the property, it's also a really cool part. So, and we've got the benefit. I'll show you guys the other benefit of why. Look at that. Look how close I got power right there. Absolutely spectacular. Should easily be able to. Hey, that's I just realized that's internet too. So that's a double awesomeness. Some of you might not know, since all the craziness and I wasn't able to teach classes the last 2 years, wasn't able to get you guys out here and do as much, and focused a lot on doing my online classes. And then, you know, I've really missed running the B&B. So me and Lisa's talked a lot about, in the very near future, putting together campgrounds and then being able to teach classes for those that want to stay at the campgrounds and have a lot of hands-on cool things. If you don't know, so this is called the Mavis Pharmacy or the Mavis Institute, depending on where we're walking around on the property. And just trying to give back to the world and teach everybody skills that they've somehow didn't have. So I was a city kid. I grew up in the inner city, so I didn't have those skills either. So I had to learn them by being down here. And I've been here for 16 years now and learned some really awesome skills. Always learning more. Always looking to have more people teach me more skills. But, you know, that's just the way. If we want the world to be better, we need to make it better ourselves. We get up a little bit higher so you guys can really see the mountains, but there's some mountains tucked back there and tucked back there. So, hey, Mark Boggs. Thank you for the ice cream. Oh, I don't know if you guys have ever, let's see if I can find a good one. None of those Queen Anne's lace were good. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Queen Anne's lace. Queen Anne's lace is wild carrot. It's one of my favorite outdoor edible plants. So we'll zoom in. It's very edible. It's wild carrot. It's good for you. But let me show you what's really cool about Queen Anne's lace. So there's pretty much, you can see it's like a cluster of flowers. Let's see if I can get this one. This one has it right here. Let's see if I can get it zoomed in so guys can really show you how cool it is. Okay, well, that's fairly okay. If you guys look right there in the middle, you can always tell Queen Anne's lace over hemlock and other things. So if you look right there, kind of in the center, you'll see a little black flower. There's a single black flower in the middle of Queen Anne's lace. And so the folklore behind Queen Anne's lace is Queen Anne, as she was going through and looking at flowers, and she was a big fan of roses, but also liked flowers with little clusters because there's also a little bit of pink and white in here. And she really enjoyed this. And when she went from roses, when she pricked her finger and she touched the center of the flower. And so that is Queen Anne's lace. But Queen Anne's lace, it's wild carrot. So it's just part of the carrot family. This is actually what we extracted carrot from and domesticated. We domesticated this plant and turned it into carrot. So you can get down there. It's very fibrous, but I know a lot of folks that'll actually cut this particular part, especially as it is right now, and then they'll bread that and they'll eat that, and the flower's edible. Everything about it's edible. So, but you just need to make sure that it's Queen Anne's lace. But if you see the black dot right there in the center, should I get that to be a little bit clearer, but it doesn't look like it's going to let me. But if you find that black dot right there in the center, there's nothing else that has that black dot, so it's Queen Anne's lace. So one of my favorites. Also, you can just pull up the roots, and when you pull up the roots and you smell the roots, it has a very strong smell of carrots. So actually, since we're talking about edible stuff, let's peek on down to some other really fun edible plants that are here. So here is red clover. Red clover is spectacular to have in any type of field. It's a nitrogen fixer, so if you see red clover, it just means that it is fixing your hayfield, your grass, your yard. Red clover just is very beneficial. The other thing is red clover, especially when it's nice and still very vibrant and purple like that, So I'll show you guys so you know that it is edible. So you guys can see. It has a very sweet taste to it. You do want to because it is a little fiberish, and so you want to get it. You definitely want to get it chewed up good, but very tasty. Really good to add to salads. It's high in a handful of the different types of vitamins, but depending on your soil and such, it might have some of the other micronutrients that you're not used to getting because of where it grows and how much of a nitrogen fixture and such that it is. And while there's tons of more edible plants and such up here, those are two of the ones that you can't really mistake. Like, there's really no way to mistake in red clover or Queen Anne's lace. It's actually really calm today. Really surprised on the calmness today. The calmness is leading to a little bit of humidity, being that it is 68 or 20 C. We can peek out in here and say hi to Mytherin. It'll be about another year or so. See that box right there? Those that know the story about Mytherin is in the box. So in the future, we'll be able to extract him out of the box. Mytherin was one of my pets. He was one of my dogs. And yeah, we're not gonna get into that story right now. But that's where Mytherin's at. So we're gonna continue on up the mountain. You know, I was thinking, going back to the whole Juju and negative feelings and such like that people's been having. You know, for a while I was thinking that because this spring was so harsh for me, like I lost so much things dear to me this spring. It was probably one of the hardest years. 2021 will definitely go down as one of the more turbulent, emotionally taxing years for me. Lost a lot of things that I love, a lot of loved ones. And I thought that was still playing a role. But like I said, in the last 2 weeks, when I've just started noticing more and more of my friends and more of the people around me, and even just strangers out there, just by, you know, observing and watching what's going on and just seeing all of the bad juju just run amok. So I've been really trying to think about what it could possibly be. And right now we're just going to theorize because I really don't have any idea. And I can go, you know, those that know me know I can theorize forever. I can get into the craziest thing from, you know, this is just something that humans do and it's a natural occurrence when, you know, there's extra stress in the world, all the way to, you know, it's 5G, or all the way to, you know, it's the shedding of the, you know, the vaccine. So, you know, all of those things. But my initial reaction though is I do think it is something dealing with the sun. I think it's something dealing with the ether. Even though we all know I have no idea what that actually means. We have no idea, because those that don't know, like, I have no idea anything about space. So, or the planets or the sun. I'm just, I'm very up in the air, don't know. Very curious. I'm more than happy to not believe anything. But I've noticed the animals and the bees and even some of the plants that I regularly pay attention to, just how interesting they've been acting. The weather patterns have been intriguing. I can't say they've been extraordinary or something different than what I expected, but they are definitely worth observing and documenting and keeping track of. And so I think of all that, and I think with all of the other stuff that us humans experience and our complete disconnect from ourselves. Most of us don't know how to realize that when we need to take a break from something, or when we need to walk away, or we need to eat something, or we need to spend some more fellowship. So that in turn means that we let things that normally would not build up, we allow it to build up, or we use something like tobacco, caffeine, nicotine, marijuana, cocaine, DMT, mescaline. We use something to trick our minds into feeling better instead of, fellowship of other humans, or eating a proper diet, or forced bathing, or, whatever ancient humans, our ancestors, our great-grandparents used to do to deal with body imbalances. And I'm going to mention it again. If you guys are watching and you're just feeling a little down and out, you're feeling just like you don't have anything going for you, you are welcome to just join the Discord. We talk about a variety of stuff on there. ! Discord is the Discord, and we talk about a lot of stuff on there. We don't always agree, but everybody's pretty open-minded. Everybody's pretty awesome. And we talk about a lot of stuff. I try to pride myself into always being curious and not trying to accept any answer to anything, and just listening to things. Or if you just need some fellowship, you just want to be around some other human beings because, I don't know, maybe you're still feeling isolated after, the great snow day that some people still lasting. Ooh, when we walk up here, it's gonna be awesome. I can already see the clouds and such. So okay, finished my dragon coffee. Again, guys, dragon coffee, highly suggest it. It's a good thing. It's coffee, turmeric, milk, honey, and a little bit of cinnamon. And just add that in, and that's a nice jolt to the day. So we're gonna get past this crazy cell tower, so yes, you will have to visit again very soon. It's always good to be on top of the mountain here in Flat Top and just feel the spectacularness of, kind of feel like you're on top of the world. That's part of the reason why I don't, especially when I'm just feeling extra down and out and just extra, there's just not much there. Coming up here and standing on the top of the world, and top of my world, I know it's not the top of the world, guys, but top of my world, and being able to see, and we're gonna, as soon as we get past these buildings, we're gonna peek down and I'll show you guys what the view really is like, and just how spectacular it really is. It's just something lovely about this. So we'll walk over here, and I'll find a nice spot to just sit down for a second so you guys can just really see. I'll zoom in even a little bit. But the mountain you see in the far distance, that's actually the state of Virginia. That's East River Mountain that you're seeing in the far distance. So you guys can see the nice clouds forming up there. Zoom in just a little bit. So the reason why this is called the Blue Ridge Mountains, because you're looking into the Blue Ridge Mountains, because right now I'm technically in the foothills. The reason why that is so blue, because some of you might be wondering, wow, that really is blue. Is it the camera? The reason is because in that gap between the big mountain and the little mountain is the New River that's running through there, and the high levels of moisture is just making that blue with the water and such like that. It's also, you guys have maybe heard stuff about the Great Valley. You're looking at right on the edge of the Great Valley. So the Great Valley is one of the most spectacular places here in the United States. That's like where Roanoke and runs up into the Green Mountains and runs all the way down into Georgia and such. Think the Appalachian Trail is probably a good way to think of it. The Appalachian Trail doesn't completely run through the Great Valley, but the Great Valley it's a magical place to live in the United States. It was really good at growing crops. The weather was just always perfect, and perfect as in like really you had nice 4 seasons. You were able to grow things. You were kind of buffered from any extremes. You didn't really have to worry so much about wildfires. You didn't really have to worry about tornadoes. You didn't really have to worry about like major flooding. The Great Valley is just it's one of the places in the United States that for some reason is not talked about as much, which I'm fine with that. Like, because I'd like it to stay as green and like it to stay as, I want the people to live there that know what they're doing and what they're having. So, but it is just a great place. Look it up on the internet if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about. But yeah, the Great Valley, I'm just right on the edge. So technically for those that are into geology and such like that, I'm on the very, very end. Like that ridge right there is the very end of the Allegheny Front. So actually that first ridge right there is the edge of the Allegheny Front. So that's where I'm at. The Allegheny Front it's different rock formations and such are what causes all that. So what's really fun about up here some days you can just come up here and sit, and if it's storming in the distance, if it's storming in Virginia or if it's storming behind me, you can just watch the storms run through. You can watch it raining in a distance. I think a couple video, not my second to last video, my last video when we went up here. If you get about halfway through the video, you can see where we were watching it storm up here on the mountain in the distance. It was just spectacular. The other thing is especially for someone like me, I love the fact that there's very little humans. So there's a little community right there. That's a good, I think there's about 15 houses there in that little grouping right there. That's pretty much one of the main groupings of Flat Top. So Flat Top has about 300 some people. That's the town I live in for those that are unaware of that. And it's just a nice quiet. So this would be almost perfect if it wasn't for the cell towers. That's the only downfall I have to living here. Other than that, it does everything. I've got 4 seasons, and I have a nice winter, which I'm someone who absolutely loves winter. Right now, at the top, we're at about 3,600 feet above sea level. And I'll just, if you sit quiet for a second, actually pretty quiet. Peaceful place. Okay, let's continue on over this way. We're gonna head on over to the trees before we head back down. Oh, if you guys didn't see this way, so that's looking, we're now looking west. So when it's not as overcast, there's a mountain right over that way. That is actually a hilltop that you can see in Kentucky. So I actually can see a ridge, of inside Kentucky, which is pretty cool. So I can see 2 states from here. I can see not I can see Virginia, and I can see Kentucky. If we were a little bit higher, I probably could even see North Carolina because of the ridges, but not quite high enough here. I don't know if some of you might not be aware of this, but for the last 70 years, yes, I said 70 years, the population of West Virginia has been getting smaller and smaller. So the state from 2010 to 2020 lost 60,000 people. The population went down 60,000 people. So part of it is because there's not, if you are not an entrepreneur and you just don't know how to make your way, there's not as many jobs up here. But if you know what you're doing, there is some spectacular farmland, some spectacular hunting land, just some spectacular stuff. So I want to show you guys this. I don't know if you guys are that familiar with these. I want to show you guys what it looks like just sitting in the ground. So this is a puffball, and I'll show you guys why it's called a puffball. It's a fungus, very popular here in Appalachia, but puffballs actually do go all over the world. I'll show you guys why it's called a puffball. This is an average size. I've seen them here as big as baseballs. I've seen pictures of them as big as soccer balls. But so here's a puffball. You guys can see roughly about the size of a golf ball. So this one looks like this is probably blown here. It doesn't look like it's originally from here, but it's probably not from too far away. But why are they called puffballs? If you guys are not familiar with why these are called puffballs, I will show you guys. So if I can get the camera just to get a little bit cleaner. So here's why they're called puffballs. So and if you guys see in there, this let me see if I can make this a little bit better. Put this right here so I can get a little bit closer so I can really zoom in. Okay, it's not gonna let me zoom. I'll take some pictures for you guys. But it's cool because in here, the best way I can explain it, how that this in here is it has the same texture as like fiberglass, or like really, really lightly spun candy cane, or cotton candy, or if you've never seen either one of those and you don't know what I'm talking about, it's kind of like a really like a fluffy, like a fluffy material. So I'm gonna put this. But yep, these are all spores. What you see coming out is spores. So what I'm doing is ensuring that more puffballs are going everywhere. The way I'm sitting, just so you know, I've got it so the wind is actually blowing, so it's not blowing it into my face, and I'm not inhaling these. If you can catch these before they turn brown, and these are still a white color, you'll see them as a nice white color. They're actually they're edible, and they're really good to put in with butter, and to just fry these up with butter. And they'll be a nice solid ball. They'll be white, and they'll have a nice texture to them, kind of like a potato. So I'm gonna put this one in my pocket so I can get some good pictures of it in a bit, and we will continue on our way. I have made the mistake of breathing in the puffballs before, and it does make you cough a lot. And probably not good if you have asthma. But I don't think there's any long-term effects with inhaling a little bit of puffball spores. Just, anytime. It's probably not, optimum to inhale spores. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but I can hear a turkey in the distance. Lots of wild turkeys here, bears, bobcats, mountain lions, grouse. I've not heard a whippoorwill yet. That is high on my list. I love whippoorwills. I would actually love to be able to hear a whippoorwill here. Lots of also really cool animals, great horned owls. I've never seen any pheasant here, so hopefully in the future maybe there'll be pheasant. Or I'll go get a permit and release some pheasants and such here, pheasants and quail, because they would do well, especially in the pine forest. It's cool, guys. So I'm walking past this red pine. I think that's a red pine, yeah. This red pine forest, and I'm probably 50, 60 feet from the trees, and the smell of pine is just really strong. It's like it's almost like my nose is getting hit with Christmas. So, or pine sol. You can look at it either way. It's very, very lovely smell. And it's because it's not so windy today. Some days when it's windy and the wind's blowing downhill, you don't get to have that smell, but it's pretty still. So as we walk up here, and I can just feel, like we started off today with, really crazy Juju, and talking about how, things were just, life was just stressing a lot of people out. And as I'm walking up here and just getting to enjoy being up here in nature and chatting with good folks like you and seeing just how wonderful things really are. Because if you really look, guys, like, you might see all the crazy stuff that's happening in the world and the people protesting and all the bad stuff, but when you're standing up here in the woods, in the bush, on a mountain, you just realize that this is what we should be doing. This is what life's more about. It's not about being angry at bad people or shaking our fist or thinking that they're going to destroy everything. It's about being out here, being the best version of you that you can, enjoying what is available. It's just amazing. It's amazing what we have at our fingertips and how awesome life really is if we give it a second. I'm a firm believer that we weren't meant to live in these large cities. People do want to live together with other people. I agree. I think small towns are the way to go. I think large cities and suburbs are they're just broken. They're ways to shatter us as humans. They're ways to put us in large groups but isolate us from each other. Where the small town, the community, the getting to know everyone, the directly interacting with folks, the good and the bad, having the local town drunk, having, the local preachers, having the folks that you don't agree with everything, but, they're part of your community, so you understand them. That's what it was meant to be. And also having green space, having space that you can get out there and just see the rawness, like that it's not, properly maintained, that it's not, manicured to all hell, there's not chemicals sprayed everywhere. It's still raw, dirty, alive nature. It's the middle way. So part of the Dharma is the middle way, is to stay away from the extremes. It's a lot easier said than done. It's easy to go to the extremes. But when you're out here in nature, and seeing the bugs fly past, and you're seeing the green grass with the contrast of the brown grass, with the contrast of the trees, the middle way becomes easier. We're going to head down this way because I'm positive that none of you guys have walked down this way. Well, okay, I'm not positive. I'm pretty sure that none of you have ever walked down this way with me before. So this is running right on the edge of the property. This is definitely an edge of my property that I neglect. It's fairly steep. We're going to walk down here and you're going to see one of the springs that pop up in the mountain, that pop up out of the mountain. I'm not sure how dry it's going to be, but I don't know if you can see the topography, but you guys can see it kind of goes into that, and then it kind of runs down like that. That bush is kind of blocking it, but that's the topography, and we're going to go right down there, and in that area right there is going to be where one of the springs is, and there's going to be some exposed rocks. Now, sometimes the spring isn't visible. Sometimes it's under the rocks, and you can just tell that it's wet. Ooh. We'll walk over, and I will show you guys the cornflower. And I want to also show you guys how cool cornflowers really are. So they're one of my favorite wildflowers that are here. So this is the cornflower. So you guys can see it's got lovely yellow flowers and such on it. But let me show you guys why the cornflower is so. So I'm about 5'11", so you guys can see how much even more taller than I am the cornflower is. It's just it's one of the cool flowers that just grows here in the it's related to lamb's ears, and it just grows really tall. One of the tallest flowers you'll find in fields and such like that. So it's related to lamb's ear. So this guy's been eaten up a lot, but if you're not familiar with lamb's ear, so fuzzy leaves, very soft fuzzy leaves when they're not all chewed up. But this guy's getting to the point where he's, it's flowering, so it's about to produce its seeds so that it can produce some more cornflowers in the very near future. And then the wind will catch those and it'll blow them downhill. Birds will take some of them. Ooh, there's a cottonwood. There's a cottonwood tree right there. So I love cottonwoods. I don't know if you guys have... So right there is a beautiful cottonwood tree. It's a smaller one, but big, ginormous leaves. Okay, let's go back. We were going back down. And if you guys are new to my channel, thank you for jumping in. We talk a lot about homesteading, farming, gardening. Sometimes we just go for walks. Later today, we'll be getting into my beehive as long as the weather holds out. And so if you guys are interested in learning more about bees, I keep bees on my porch. And then we just kind of mostly talk about farming, off-gridding, and just trying to make life a little bit better. So, okay, so here we are now down. I told you guys we were going to be down here where I said the spring is going to be. And I don't know if you guys can tell, but I can already see. So if you can see see if I can teach you guys this. So you guys can see how the grass is changing texture here. So you'll see a lot, like right through here, you're going to see a lot more round type plants. So rushes are round, sedges have edges. I don't have as many sedges here, but we have lots of rushes. And so, see if I can get you a rush. So it's a very circular plant. When you see that, that's how you know there's water close. And then, as I said, guys, I knew we would be able to come down here and there would be patches of water. So we've got some, you can see the cows have been here. You can see the water has been sitting for a while. So kind of the swampy part of the spring. But you can also tell, I'll show you guys a way. So even during drought times, if you guys want to know if there's a spring nearby, and maybe you don't see the water flowing like we are here. Let's say you're going to buy a new piece of property and you'd like to know if there's a spring or something nearby. Minus that I'm, I want to show you guys, this is a good telltale way to know if there's a spring nearby. So you look for a rock cropping. So by the way, guys, if you're in Appalachia, you guys see this rock cropping right here? You see this outcropping of rocks that's under the biology underneath the plants, and you'll see those caves. Be careful about this particular area, especially right through those cracks. If you're in Appalachia or anything like that, these are, on really hot days, these are telltale signs of where copperheads or rattlesnakes would hang out. And on cool days, inside the cracks and that kind of stuff, you're also going to be able to find copperheads and rattlesnakes. So copperheads smell like cucumber hand lotion. I know that sounds ridiculous, but that's probably the easiest way. If you're ever out in the woods and you start and it smells like you smell cucumber hand lotion, there's most likely a copperhead around. So be very diligent. So I have handled copperheads before. I'm more worried about having children around, or if you happen to be someone that's allergic to that, because copperheads, unlike rattlesnakes, which are a pit viper, copperheads are, I think they're poisonous instead of venomous. Yeah, it's poison. It's it doesn't eat away at your skin. It just kind of poisons you, where the venom kills your skin, like in rattlesnakes and such, and actually causes neuropathy, something like that. Anyways, regardless of all that, so if you are out here in the bush and you're buying some property and you see some nice stone, and you're noticing around the stone you're seeing algae, and you're noticing that the algae is very damp still, or you're seeing some type, this isn't algae, this is actually this is actually a different type of like a fern. But you've got the lichen here, which is related to algae. So you got lichen here, you've got these fern stuffs growing here, and you're noticing that it's still very damp. That means that like maybe there's water underneath this rock, and since this is sandstone, it's being porous and coming up through. Or not very far away, you're having the humidity come, and because of the rock and such like that, it's causing a microenvironment here. And so these are good ways to be able to tell if you've got hidden springs on your property, and being able to find some fairly clean, fresh water to drink. Again, if you're not familiar with your water source, it's a good idea to filter it ahead of time, and there's plenty of awesome ways to filter. If you guys ever want to learn more about filtering, you guys can follow us on Discord, and we talk about that. I make filters. Sand filters are very easy, or I can point you in the direction of good cheap filters to buy on the internets. And I do suggest, if you're ever going to go out hiking or you're going to spend any time in the bush, you should always carry a filter with you. Something that attaches to like your Nalgene bottle or some type of carrying bottle. Because you just never know when you get super thirsty and you wouldn't mind having a filter, and they're lightweight. Even a life straw is another option to carry with you. It's a good thing as a human to always be able to know that you have access to water, which is one of the few things that we need to survive for an extended period of time. So, but man, you guys can see how this spring is doing really nice here, and it's flowing down here. So this see that. So what this is telling me is a couple different things. If you guys see how it kind of looks like there's a sheen. So you kind of see how there's like a greasy sheen on things. So the greasy sheen is caused for a handful of different reasons. So the greasy sheen here is caused probably for one of two reasons. One reason is there could be cow poop in the vicinity, and it's just left over from that. It also could be because where we are, there is coal veins, and there could be some sheen, and there could be some of the stuff bleeding off from that. So those, both of those, when you see the sheen like that, that is something that should make you very nervous about drinking it. If it looks like something that we wouldn't naturally want to drink, then you do need to understand your own instincts. Even some of you that's never been out in the bush and has never spent any time in nature, you still do have those instincts. And you should try to stay in touch with them. But I'm positive with a little bit of time and a shovel, I could find some absolutely drinkable water in this vicinity. But again, like I said, these are things to pay attention to. But as I showed you guys, we're just right here. We're down here. We came off the hill. We came off the hill up there. We're down here in this little area where I know that there's a spring. We had the rock outcropping to let us know, with all of the lichens and the moss and the algae growing up there, letting us know that there was going to be a water source here. And then we also had the different types of plants growing to let us know that the water source is a long-term. So that's things like the rushes. If you start seeing cattails, then you know that there's even a deeper water source, since cattails like their feet to always be wet. And then other things that we would start noticing here in the future is if things change, you would also start noticing sycamore trees, which I'm actually surprised there's not a sycamore tree in the vicinity. But I don't have many sycamore trees on the property, so that actually might be the reason. So no sycamore trees. You also might find different types of willow. And again, of course, I'm talking very much East Coast. So West Coast, you are going to have slightly different things. Or if you are in Europe or Africa or down in Oz. I don't know anything about South America. I couldn't even give you anything about what it would be like there. I'd like to know more. But we're going to walk over. I'm going to show you guys. There is a sassafras tree. Oh, look. This is pretty cool. See this right here? This is wild mint. Let's see what kind this is. That is spearmint. So a telltale sign is the little purple flower. Oregano, peppermint, spearmint, things of that sort are all in the same family. Not a whole lot of nutritious value, but it is a nice way to freshen your breath. And it is a nice way to get a little bit of taste in your mouth. And so you just kind of chew on the leaf a little bit and just kind of break it up between your teeth. Kind of treat it like you would a gum. So here we are. This is one of my favorite trees. This is a sassafras tree. What's so cool about sassafras trees is it has 3 different leaf patterns. So it's got your nice oblong leaf. It's got your leaf that looks like a little ghost. And then it's got your leaf that looks like a glove. Now, you can make sassafras tea with this. Sassafras tree comes from the root. But you can also make sassafras tea from the leaves. And so I am a big fan, especially the young leaves that have a little bit of red on them. If you like the taste of sassafras, and you can grab some of these young leaves and you can just chew on them, and you like the sassafras taste. Minus it's not as sweet as if it had sugar, but the sassafras taste is just so spectacular. Now, fair warning, they say in California that sassafras does have, there's something about it. There's a chemical in it that can have negative impact, can cause cancer is pretty much what they said. I don't understand that, but I'm just going to pass that along. But I've been eating sassafras my entire life. So, but this is sassafras. There's nothing poisonous about it. besides the whatever the thing with the cancer is, there's nothing harmful. Kids can eat it, you can eat it, your pets can eat it. Actually, it's not harmful for animals. This is actually a good resource if you've got rabbits, if you've got cattle, things of that sort that need to eat things. It's high in particular certain types of vitamins, and it could actually be something with the processing of the root is where the issue could come about with that. But anyway, sassafras, great tree, love it. This tree is a medium-sized tree. So that's the sassafras tree right there. So he's right. These are the leaves those leaves right there. That's autumn olive. Actually, here's autumn olive right here. So if you live in the bush, if you live in Appalachia, you understand how much this tree's annoying. It's annoying, but really good for bees. This is actually a wild raspberry. So, and then let me also show you what's really cool is young sassafras. This is a yearling. This tree just came up. This sassafras tree just came up this year. And you can see the nice red, the vibrant red in the sassafras, especially on the ghost leaves. So, and this would actually be a really good tree to dig up and get access to the roots. You can also make a type of sassafras beer, which you actually can ferment and have a very small amount of alcohol to it. But you can actually take the roots, grind up the roots, add some sugar and some water to it, and then let it ferment. And you can ferment and because there's a natural yeast that the tree attracts in the roots and such, you can make a small little fermented beer. So similar tasting to sarsaparilla. So I also want to show you, since we're talking about edible things, I do want to show you a non-edible plant that happens to be hiding right here. And there's not many plants that are extremely poisonous, but this is one of them. So right here, if you guys see this right here, it looks very similar to the Queen Anne's lace, but you will see that there is no red dot. You also see that the patterns, the leaves, are in smaller clusters. If you would chew on, I don't know if you heard me chomping on the leaf. So I'm spitting this out 1 second. So I chomp on the leaf because it has a very toxic taste to it. You can taste this fairly quickly. It makes your tongue numb. Now this is actually could very much be used while it is toxic, and it is something that you should not consume a lot of, and especially if there's children around. But if you have a really horrible toothache, that plant, which is called water hemlock, by the way, that's actually what is it Aristotle used to kill himself? But he had to make a tea of it, and you consume a lot. But if you take some of the leaves and you just slowly chew on it, and of course spit all of it back out, you'll feel it. It'll actually numb your mouth a little bit, and then of course wash your mouth out with some water after that. But what that does is that will actually help numb if you have a really bad toothache or something of that sort. So again, you don't want to swallow it. You don't want to consume it. I mean, you don't want to let it go into your system, but being able to use it topical, it can be very beneficial and things of that sort. So there's a lot of plants that, even though they're toxic or not good for us, but they have lots of topical reasons and lots of good natural uses to them. That's a cool tree. Okay, thank you, Mark. So he was forced to drink it, which sounds absolutely like a horrible thing. Okay, let's continue on down this way. I don't know if you can hear the trees, the leaves rustle. These leaves sound really cool. I'm not sure if you guys could hear the leaves ruffling, but I tried to get you close enough so you could possibly hear them. So we're going to head back over this way. Jim F., thank you for the follow. By the way, guys, again, probably an hour or so from now, maybe a little longer. Pay attention to if you guys are interested. I'm going to be getting into the bees. I do need to recharge up the phone. So as we head back down here, but we'll be getting into the bees. It looks like it's just going to stay. You guys can see the sky. It looks like it's just going to stay nice and gray most of the day, so that will be good. I need to get into a couple of the bees. I need to add some more stuff. So we'll be getting into the bees and checking those guys out in just a bit. So it'll be something for you guys to possibly look forward to if you're looking for something else to do this afternoon. Again, I want to thank everybody for joining me on our fun little chat, our morning mountain chat, even though it's not morning anymore, and our little adventure up this way. And it's a good way to just unwind and enjoy life a little bit and just get out there. And since you guys can't always be with me on these hikes, you guys can still join me via a screen. So I've got a lot of cleaning up. If you guys can saw, most of this all fell this last winter. So this used to be a nice clear path. I just really need to be cleaning up. I've slowly been doing it a little at a time. As you get down here a little bit farther, you guys will see how much I've been cleaning up. But here on the farm, always things to do. Always, always, always. Oh, by the way, guys, I'm redoing all of my workshops, and I've just recently got the kombucha class done. And so, if you guys are interested, !M sends you to my website where you can access all of the free workshops. Right now, I mostly just have the papers on there, but I will be uploading the videos and things of that sort. And if you're interested in following me on the social media world, it's xDrFirefly. Pretty much I have, if there's a social media site, I'm on it as xDrFirefly. You guys are all welcome to follow me. I'm active on some, mildly active on others. If you guys have any specific questions, it's doc@mavispharmacy.com. That's DOC at Mavis Pharmacy. Pharmacy spelled with an F. So MAVISFARMACY.com, Mavis Pharmacy. Or you can just join the Discord, which is !Discord, and that's an easy way to get a hold of us as well. And if there are things you want me to talk about in the future, I'm really, it's been a weird year trying to decide what we're gonna be doing and talking about and saying. And so if there's things that you'd like me to talk about, to be doing here on the farm, things that you guys like to see. So I'm working on, I should be getting all of my stuff for my aeroponic, for my homemade, simple, easy, cheap aeroponic system. So I'm running a test run right now, but I'll be getting the new equipment. It should be coming in very soon. As soon as that is, we'll go through a walkthrough on building a table-type aeroponic system so that you guys can modify your clones and grow some more of your clones. And that's cloning anything, because, you know, tomatoes are very good to clone. There's a lot of lettuce. A lot of stuff is good to clone. A lot of stuff will get you a good head start into the winter, depending on how long or short your growing season is. And some of the stuff grows just fine in an aeroponic system. So what I like about aeroponics is it doesn't require as much water as aquaponics or hydroponics. So there's a lot of benefits to using that. So if you don't have, if you're worried about like the weight or things of that sort, that's where it comes in. It comes in very well, that you don't have to worry so much about that. So I'll have that kit on there. And of course, we mostly talk about bees because bees are probably one of my favorites. And then we'll get in. We do some harvesting of the plants this fall. We'll talk some more about that. And just lots of cool stuff. But again, if there's things that you guys want to learn, you guys want me to put some workshops together. So hopefully next year in 2022, I'll be doing some hands-on workshops here at the farm, where you guys will be able to come and do some stuff. We want to build some composting toilets. We want to maybe do some tractor lessons. And we have a bunch of cool stuff on tap. So we'll just see how that all works out. By the way, guys, you want to see where I'm at? So we're walking back down the fence that's leading this way. And so we're going to kind of go back and we've just made a complete full circle. That's not bad. About an hour and a half for a nice full circle, a nice little walk around the yard. That's the one thing about why I really love having all this property. It's almost like I get to go for a hike in my own backyard, and I get to feel like I went to a park. And really, we never left the property. We just walked around. Got my ducks and my bunnies and all of the silliness that happens in my yard every day. All of the excitingness. Again, if you guys aren't following Lisa's channel, that's my significant other's channel. She does the 24/7 farm. So it's a Mavis Pharmacy here on DLive, and that's pharmacy spelled with an F. The channel's 24/7. It's just, there's videos throughout. There's cameras throughout the farm, so you guys can see what's going on. So it can be fun and exciting for you guys. You guys can watch the rabbits and the bees and the ducks and the pig and all the other stuff. Okay guys, well, I'm almost back to the house. I'm gonna put the phone on charge. Probably give it about an hour, maybe an hour and a half. So I don't know what time it is. I don't usually carry a watch on me. So once you get all that stuff figured out, about an hour and a half or so, we'll get into the bees, as long as it doesn't start raining. And you guys can join me on the fun adventures of playing with the bees and looking for the queen and making sure everything is hunky-dory with them. So again, guys, thank you for joining me on this lovely walk today. It definitely helped me out. Glad to have so many of you with me. Thank you, everybody that's following me today, everybody that donated, all that stuff. So anyways, if you don't know who I am, I'm Doc. And I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the day. And I'll see you in about an hour and a half. Adios.